My name is Jérôme Laban. I'm from Montreal. I'm the CTO of the open source project Uno platform, and I've been developing for quite a while about cross-platform development and going to the web specifically. And a while back, people have been asking. We asked the community what should we from the Uno platform port. Which application should we port to the web? And one that came up was the NuGet Package Explorer from that's currently maintained by Claire Novotny from Microsoft. So before I get into this, I'm just going to talk quickly about what the Uno platform is, and because it's going to explain how we got there. Uno platform is all about bringing applications to the web and beyond. So that means that it's the WinUI XAML in C# about being pixel perfect, single code base, runs anywhere .NET runs. So .NET 6 added quite a few things with regards to targets, like running on Raspberry Pi, for instance. And because it's WinUI and because it's WinRT and WinApp SDK compatible, then there's a third-party ecosystem that's already there that's also compatible with it. It's free and open source, so you can go on GitHub and take a look and use it for free. So that's the beauty of open source. It works as is on Windows. So basically, you take your application that runs on Windows, and then the promise is to allow you to take your application to run on other targets. So the web using WebAssembly and the awesome work that has been done by the .NET team to get WebAssembly running there. It can also run on iOS, macOS, and also Catalyst using the awesome work of the .NET team, again, with the support for .NET 6 as well. So all the things that the .NET team has been doing to provide support for Android and iOS, Catalyst, and macOS using .NET 6 is also available. And there's been some updates with the release of .NET 6 recently. So that's very nice. Android's also supported. And of course, Linux. We also support Linux using the Skia rendering backend that allows us to run using your Raspberry Pi or running on your Linux machine using either a Next server or a frame buffer rendering if you want to. So the way we do this is basically you take your XAML that looks like most of the XAML that are available, like the one that comes from UWP, WPF, Silverlight, or many others. It's a bit different from the one that's from Xamarin Forms, but it's very much the same as the one that's provided by Microsoft Technologies that are available currently, and the upcoming WinUI. WinApp SDK and WinUI 3 that are going to be released. I don't remember exactly how when, but probably until the end of the year. And the idea is that we take that UI and materialize that into different platforms, so iOS and Android, WebAssembly, macOS, and others. And you can see that visually it looks the same. It's because we're using the styling that comes from Windows, and then we're going to see that in NuGet Package Explorer, but also allows you to have custom reuse the themes from the platform below, or even reuse a different styling like Material or Cupertino on all the targets if you want. So there's mix and matches that are done possibly, and I'll be showing you what that means specifically for the web when we're rendering something on the target. We've been there for a while, and people have been asking us. We were developing applications for Windows from a long time ago in 2013, and WebAssembly came in and it changed a lot of things. And we said, what should we do? Should we keep this private or not? And then we said, well, it's very important that people can reuse all those investments that we made privately and reuse them to go to the web and all the other targets. And since 2018, that we released that it was at Build, the last, not the last one in person, but the one previous. I miss those, by the way. I hope that they'll come back. But since then, we've been adding lots of stuff like Community Toolkit support, Skia Sharp, AOT support way back in 2019. And we're still there. We're continuing with lots of support for WinUI 3, Android X, Material Influent, .NET 5, .NET 6 that is coming up for us very soon. And so we've been at it for a while, and we're not going anywhere. And we're using Uno for ourselves, because we're building applications with it. So that's the main idea about what we're doing with the Uno platform. And now we're going to jump into what we've been doing with the NuGet Package Explorer. So NuGet Package Explorer is something that has been available for a while, and let me show you the application actually running on the desktop. So this is the application that has been there for a while. This is a WPF application that runs on your desktop. This is a Windows-only application, and it allows you to dig into your NuGet packages or the NuGet packages that have been published on the store. So on the NuGet.org feed, sorry, not the store. So you can browse the packages, select the packages, and then dive into what's in the package, and then drill into get a few, when you double click on it, view a few things like this. And what we did is basically take that application and make it run on the web. So this is the NuGet Package Explorer, the same application running on the web. So what you can see here is pretty much the same thing here. So we have, when you open from feed, we have a list of NuGet packages that are available here. And then you can drill into those NuGet packages. And what's important with this is that this application runs pretty much anywhere. It runs on Windows, of course, but it also runs on macOS and Linux, because you can open your website directly in your browser and it'll just work the same. So you can see here that we have a few things like the new style, the new visual style from the Windows 11 style. So it's called Sun Valley, with all the rounded corners and all the things like you even have rounded corners in other locations. I'm going to show you afterwards. You can filter content directly. So let's say if you want to search for a test platform, you can do it that way. And then, for instance, we can do. Let's say if we select one specific platform, you can view all the versions that you have here. So you can go and open one specific one and go into the details of that package. Now, what I want to show you is one specific that actually shows a few things that are interesting. It's the Serilog package. But the package is downloaded through the NuGet.org feed, and it's downloaded locally inside of your browser. There's nothing written yet onto your desktop. And then you can browse all the content there. So you can see the metadata, the dependencies. You can browse through all the dependencies. So if you want to go see the system collection non-generic, it'll open for you a second tab where you can browse that package that you were onto. So that's one of the cool things of this. List all the framework references that are there, the target frameworks that are supported by that package. And also you get all the health features that are available in the original version of the NuGet Package Explorer. And specifically, there's one that's very interesting. It's all the compiler flags that allows you to determine if your package has been built properly. So for instance, this one has been built a while back and doesn't have reproducible features that the NuGet team has been working on. So to give you an idea of the reproducibility is to make sure that when you have a NuGet package, then you can take the sources that were used to build that NuGet package and then get the exact same thing. So that goes along with the trust that you can give into the package, so that the binary that you get is exactly with the same thing that you got with the source that you can rebuild on. There's the same thing with SourceLink. SourceLink is actually quite interesting here. So it allows you to see when you're debugging with Visual Studio, it allows you to go into an application. I don't know why I can select this one. It looks like a change in Edge. So you can see when you click on the DLL here, you can see here that you can see all the assembly attributes and see the version information. That one is particularly interesting. I'm creating a lot of NuGet packages, and that information is particularly important for me to determine where a NuGet package comes from. I can take that git commit and just paste that into GitHub, and I get the right information. And then you get all sorts of PDB informations, like if it's portable, even the diffs that were used at that time when building the application. Another thing that's important is to get the PDB metadata references. So if you have a dependency, sometimes NuGet packages are not authored properly, and the content here may not be. Maybe there's a dependency that you haven't added to your NuGet package. So when people are using it, then it fails for a good reason, because the dependency is not there. You can see here that it's using the data grid that comes from the Windows Community Toolkit. It's actually, that's the funny story. That one actually comes from the Silverlight era, and was ported over to UWP, then WinUI, and then it ends up on the web using the Uno platform. And one of the cool things does is that you have all the resizable stuff that you can see here. You even have, when I just typed Control V, and then you can copy and paste the content of that data grid inside your clipboard. So that's the pretty cool stuff that comes with that data grid component. And then I was talking about the ability to go and use source links. So it's the idea that when you're in Visual Studio, you can F11 step into a file. So that Visual Studio is going to be automatically downloading the file from GitHub so that you can debug it as if it were local. So that's where that information comes from, and it gives you a wealth of information. So if I click here, I can see the actual source that comes from there. Another thing that's interesting, so this is a tree view that comes from also the WinUI source. And if you double click on this one, you can download the file. So that's an interesting thing. There's the ability to save the file. So it's using the APIs that are coming from so WinRT, so non-UI APIs, because Uno supports all this. So even if you're on, let's say, macOS, Windows, iOS, or others, if you save a file, it's going to pop up the native way for saving that file. So that's the same thing here. So you can save the content of the file on your desktop. And then if you click on another type of file, then here you can see that the file is colorized, and you even have the minimap to see this. And this is a component that's been developed by originally for UWP, developed for the community toolkit, and it's using the Monaco editor that's used by VS Code. So this is pretty much the same editor, and you can see that you have syntax coloring and highlighting and things like that. It comes embedded into the application so that you can view your content pretty easily. And that I can tell you, when you're debugging a package, and when you want to know what's inside, especially if you're developing on Linux and creating your package there, then having a tool that allows you to inspect the content of the package that way is pretty useful. So same thing, you can view your icons and things like that. So that's the all sorts of things that are very interesting. Now, another thing that's pretty nice about this is that now that the web has been particularly interesting with regards to supporting system integration, you can do stuff like this. If you change your theme, then the application behind follows the theme. So if you're a dark theme fan, which I am, I like to keep my eyes not too bright in that case, and then it'll follow your system theme, and it even change if you're following the sun or whatnot. That'll work the same. Another thing that's interesting is that you can see that there's a PWA icon at the top. So basically, you can take this application and install it as if it were a local application. So now the application's been installed. You can even oh, that's new. That's new features that have been added into Edge. So thanks for the auto update. That gives quite interesting things. So you can have all those things, and even start it at on device login, and then that application is pretty much going to be stored on your device. So let me see. You got NuGet Package Explorer. So that one is going to be, I think it's that one. There you go. So that's the web one, and that's it. Your application is local, and it works pretty much the same, and you get access to all the same features by clicking on an icon on your desktop. The second part, another thing that is quite interesting, is the fact that you can open from a local feed. So let me go to NuGet.org, and I'm going to download, let's say, you've got packages here. I'm going to download that NuGet. And by the way, when you download a package, when you're on NuGet.org, you get open in NuGet Package Explorer here. So it allows you to view that package. So if you click here, then it's going to open the NuGet Package Explorer right in your desktop. That's right in your browser. But let's download the package. I'm going to put that into, it's going to be into my download folder. And if I go back in here, if I open from a local file, I see that I have my file here, and I open that file. So if you're creating your NuGet package locally and want to test your package and see what it does, then that's the way to do it. There's no need to upload it somewhere else. You can just do file open local, and then you're going to get your file available there. So that's pretty much it. The application specifically here is deployed using Azure Static Web Apps. So we're using this technology because it's quite easy to deploy an application there. It supports auto compression, pre-compression, so you can basically have your files next to each other with the same with the compression, so it runs pretty quickly. That's pretty nice, and a few additional things that are available there. There are quite a few challenges with regards to publishing on Azure Static Web Apps, specifically with the fact that Azure Static Web Apps only support the last version available. So if you publish, then you're in the latest, and if your CDN is not swapping fast enough, you may have missing files issues. So that's the idea. And you can see that if I refresh the application, it's available right away. So it's cached. I think we put the cache for 10 years or something like that. So basically, when it's downloaded on your device, it stays there for quite a while. Now, if I go again to the NuGet Package Explorer, I wanted to show you what that means when you're running the application. So let me open the developer tools, and we're just going to go into and see what let's say this text box means. And when you're looking at the DOM, we're actually using DOM elements there to be able to display content there and have the exact behavior of what the browser is supposed to be providing, especially with regards to support for accessibility and a few other things that are related. So that's the base of the feature, and you can see how we're rendering this. So we had divs for pretty much everything with types that are there. So you can see, for instance, that this one is a header content control that comes from the Windows community, the Microsoft Community Toolkit, or Windows Community Toolkit. You change a few times the names, or an image there, an image control, which is materialized as an IMG control directly in your browser. As you can see here, it's a data URL because the file comes from the NuGet package, so we can't get that file from an URL. So we generate that file that file as a data URL directly in the project. Now, I'm going to show you what that means from browsing the code a little bit in the solution. So this is the solution that you can find where when you download when you clone the repository on the NuGet Package Explorer. So I'm going to give you the URL at the end of the talk. But if you search out on GitHub, you're going to find it pretty quickly. So you have the WebAssembly application here. So this is a filtered solution. So the rest of the solution has all the other targets. Like for instance, you get NuGet Package Explorer from Windows and the package version that goes to the store. But when we're developing for Uno and the targets for Uno, we're not putting them here at this time. And so that's why we use the filter. Then we got a few projects. So we get the types, which is basically a set of NuGet related types like package commands and extensions, issues, and things like that are basically cross-targeted to be able to support all the targets that we need. So net 5, net 6, and net standard, depending on the target. So net 6 when running with the latest, but net standard 2 in some cases for the web where multiple targets are available. So that one is cross-targeted. There's nothing specific for Uno there. Then you get the set of view models, same thing. That one is using net standard 2. And if it's on Windows, it has net standard 2.1. And if it's on Windows, there are specific things that need to run on Windows. And I'm going to drill into some of those a little bit that time. But basically, it's about getting to cryptography or accessing PDB. So for instance, if we're the NuGet Package Explorer is looking at packages there and the debugging symbols, I'm going to get there, and it validates that everything here is properly defined. And if it's not, then it has to read all the NuGet package, the content of the NuGet packages. And you can see that there are some packages here that are there, like some NuGet resolver and authenticator examiner and things like that need to be there for the whole NuGet Package Explorer to work properly. Now, most of the code has been reused with exceptions where we have if if the code was using WPF specific controls, that we had to move and do something else. So we changed that a little bit. But otherwise, with regards to the XAML, it's pretty close to the original one, with being able to take Xbind into account and having all the new features that UWP and WinUI are providing. We also have reused most of the converters, like for instance, the one that converts the fact that there's a pre-release icon that needs to be displayed somewhere next to a version to tell you it's the pre-release one. So that we did a few things like the culture info. When you're running on WPF, it has to be a system. It has to be a culture info. But when it's on UWP or WinUI, it has to be a system strength. So that's the kind of conversions that we did here and there to make that work. On other things that are interesting, we had to do things like is supported. So for instance, if you're trying to use cryptography features, that won't work if you're on WebAssembly, because most of the web browsers don't have a cryptography specific features like being able to validate an XOS X509 certificate and its chain. So we're getting to exclude those features, and in some cases we just bail out if it's not possible. So for instance, if we go to NuGet packages that are coming from Microsoft, some of those are using. If you use Entity Framework Core, I don't think we can. That one works, but there are some that can't work because we can't read native PDBs because that use platform specific, so x86 or x64 binaries that can't run on the web. So that's the kind of things that we can't do. So sometimes we use pound Fs or pragmas to move the code from one target framework to the other, or in some cases we can't, and we use runtime support for features to exclude functionalities. So for instance, if you see here, there's signing supported. In some cases, we just exclude it completely, and then we don't validate signatures at all in those cases. So there's that, and then afterwards, there are a few other things that we could reuse. So for instance, in that case, we have two shared project here, and that one is less important than that one. But if you take a look, that file is actually located inside of the WPF project files. So this is the project file for NuGet, the Windows one, and then we have a shared project file that's next to it. And what that allows to do is basically when you expand all this, you get all the files that are shareable between the two. So what that means is you can basically include files manually. So that's what we did. We just right-click, include the files one by one, and make that work when we integrate that project into the WebAssembly, the NuGet Package Explorer here. So that's how we did it. And some of those were interesting. So for instance, we could reuse all the package downloader logic. So when you double click on a file, then it gets all the content for you. That NuGet package gets downloaded, and all this is using the same features that are inside of the WPF version of the app. And so that's the power of being able to reuse all that code. So basically that code, when you double click on a file, it gets downloaded. You get download with progress. This is creating a UI that shows the download, and that code is shared with the web. So there are some cases where it's not possible to have download being showed properly. So that's one of the things that we did, and we had to switch between the two to get something working properly, because WPF had some features that WPF doesn't, or because the web does not have some features and Windows has. So that's the kind of things that we did. PDB file viewer is another interesting one. I think I did get there. And then there's finally the settings. So settings is something that can be shared. So basically you save something as parameters, and then when you restart the application, the content stays there. We're using the browser to get there and have, when you restart the application, keep the settings that you've saved when running the application. So that's pretty much what we did with running the NuGet Package Explorer. So I hope you liked it. So if you if you want to take a look at the summary and lessons, you can take a look. So I've put it in there for people to take a look at during the to be able to view the content afterwards. And you can join in. We have further improvements coming down the pipe, like creating and editing packages or alternate feed. I know people from the .NET team have been asking for this, so that's pretty nice. And more PW integration with file associations. And if you want to learn more about UNO platform, we have the UNO Conf coming up on November 30th. Join us, and thank you for listening.
And thank you so much for that. That's very exciting. Some really exciting new stuff coming with UNO and with NuGet, and it's been great. Looking here, and we don't have any specific questions about it. I'm trying to see if there's anything in here that we could pop up. But we definitely want those questions to keep coming in from our community out there. But we don't have any to ask right now. Is there any other things, any other topics you wanted to bring up? Or
well, WebAssembly is kind of an interesting topic, and I know the Blazor team has been talking about it quite a bit, and part of developing all this and make all the WebAssembly and support. And the year 2022 is going to be very interesting because the WebAssembly community in general is adding a lot of features inside of browsers. One specifically that's been added that has been added recently in Chrome and Safari, and even Safari in that context, is the support for exceptions. So that's going to make application run a lot faster. Something that is still an issue for WebAssembly for .NET. So lots of new things coming up next year with WebAssembly and .NET 7, hopefully. New threading also that will be added. So that's going to be fun.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. Did you have any other questions?
No, I know I learned a lot from you, Jerome. That was a super awesome talk, and I think everyone is just absorbing everything you had to say. That was super excellent.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
It was nice presentation. Nice to see you.